What is going on, Raider Nation? It's your boy Sanjit back at it. The Raiders have officially made their pick, and that is guard Dylan Parham out of Memphis. I'm excited, man. I'm very, very excited because I wanted the Raiders to take an offensive lineman, and we got ourselves an offensive lineman, Dylan Parham, a right guard for Memphis, who he was my number 3 offensive lineman, or I'm sorry, number 3 offensive guard. And I'm pumped up, man. I think this is a great pick for the Raiders. Parham had a fantastic Senior Bowl, did a great job. And now the Raiders get themselves an offensive lineman that is very good. Let's just be honest, right? We're going to discuss this, man. We're going to really get into it. You know, the Las Vegas Raiders have on one end Alex Leatherwood, which we're not 100% sure where he's going to play. And then you have a guy in John Simpson who we've kind of felt like needs to be replaced. And now you kind of look at what the Raiders are doing on the interior offensive line. Like Colt Miller's locked in at the left tackle spot, Andre James at the center spot. The left guard, right tackle are kind of up in the air. And this pick kind of makes me believe that Alex Leatherwood may be headed back to that right tackle position. Think about this for a second. Alex Leatherwood is going to play the right side, and Dylan Parham was a right guard. And I see some people saying, who the hell is Dylan Parham? But I love this pick, man. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I think this is exactly what the Raiders needed. The Raiders needed a true guard, an interior guy that can push, that can get after it. Think about it. We had the 86th overall pick, and we traded back from the 86th back to the 90. I'm excited, man. And I definitely will get into the Dylan Parham tape. Some of you guys are asking about it. I'm excited. You know, I know some people may be hesitant with a guy like Dylan Parham, but if you guys think about this for a second, right? The Raiders need to fix up their interior offense line, but they need to make sure it's their guys that they're fixing it up with, right? Some people aren't 100% sure about Alex Leatherwood. Other people aren't sure about guys like Denzel Good and Brandon Parker, although Brandon Parker kind of got brought back. But if you guys think about it from that perspective, the Raiders have to get their own guys. Josh McDaniels needs his own guys. And I think this is a great fit for the Raiders. I recently did on my second channel, The Football Scout, a breakdown of my top 12 offensive linemen. And Dylan Parham was, I believe, the 11th ranked offensive lineman. So I felt he was the 11th best offensive lineman in this entire class. Keep in mind, like 7 of those guys were offensive tackles. Dylan Parham was my number 3 offensive guard. And I'm excited, man. I'm super, super excited. I think some people may be upset with the pick, which I'm not 100% sure. I don't know if people felt that the Raiders are going to get like some superstar or something like that, like in terms of, like a playmaker or something like that. I do think that this kind of tells us a lot more about Alex Leatherwood and what the Raiders may think about Alex Leatherwood. Maybe they feel he wants to be a right tackle. Maybe they feel like Alex Leatherwood being kicked back to that right side could be a good football player, right? And the thing is I trust that the Raiders coaching staff knows what they're doing. Dylan Parham, to get him with the 90th overall pick, I think it's a fantastic pick. I will say this. There are some tackles that I liked more than Parham, but I understand why the Raiders may not have taken a tackle. Some people are asking if Parham could play center. I don't think so. He played right guard for the Memphis. And then I believe he played a little bit of left guard at the Senior Bowl. So I think he could play left guard absolutely. And I'm gonna get into the tape. I'm gonna do a full film study. I may even just do that today and knock it out today so you guys can check it out. Because I'm pumped up about this, man. I really, really am pumped up. I think the Raiders did right by getting Dylan Parham. Some of you guys may not know who he is, but just to kind of give you guys an analysis of what I've seen on tape of him. First and foremost, he is very good in run blocking, right? The first thing you will notice when you put his tape on is he knows how to climb. He can double and get up to the next level. Super explosive, very quick off the line of scrimmage. He is one of those guys that can move from point A to point B. He understands angles. And for me, when you're going to take a guard, you have to have a guy that understands angles. Now, some people will talk about the fact that Is he going to be a guard? Is he going to be right, left? Could he be a tackle? I think he's going to be the Raiders' left guard. And a lot of us, me included, felt that Denzel Good would actually end up being the Raiders' left guard, right? I truly believe he would be the starting left guard, especially after seeing the videos of Alex Leatherwood playing right offensive line, right, or on the right side of the offensive line. He had his right hand down practicing with his coach. So then when you look at a guy like Dylan Parham and the fact that he's coming in and he's an interior offensive lineman, like Parham will not be a guard. He's going to be an interior offensive lineman. I think this is a great pick, man. I truly believe this is a great pick. I know some people may not think guards are the sexiest pick, which I totally understand. We've technically taken 2 guards now back-to-back years, right? Like our first pick we had last year was technically a guard. And this year we took another guard. But you got to keep in mind, right? Like our weakness coming into this draft was interior defensive tackle, left guard. Those were the 2 weaknesses that we had. And of course, the right tackle position, because we don't really know what's going on. But in my opinion, I truly believe this. This pick makes so much sense for the Raiders. This pick makes sense because it's a scheme fit. The Raiders aren't running that zone-heavy scheme anymore. We're going to be a power football team. That's why you bring back a guy like Brian Parker. That's why you bring back Jermaine Johnson, and that's why you bring in a guy like Alex Leatherwood to potentially play the inside. I know some people are saying that Dylan Parham is a starting center. I don't know about that, man. And maybe I missed the scouting report of Dylan Parham being a center. I don't know. Did he play center? I don't know. Honestly, I didn't think. At least I didn't see that from my analysis of him. I know he's played a little bit of right tackle. I know he's definitely played a lot of right guard. But he isn't a tackle at the next level. He's absolutely not. It's going to be super interesting. Let me know what you guys think about this, man. Let me know in the comments below. If you guys are members, I will 100% answer all of your guys' questions. Kakaha Raider said, Raiders, I hope he's a right tackle. I don't know if he's going to be a right tackle, to be honest, you guys. He could, right? So don't think he can't be a right tackle. He can absolutely be a right tackle. He's been a tackle in the past, so don't think he can't be a tackle today. I don't think he's a center, but Mel Kiper apparently said that he played center in both guard positions. I'm not 100% sure if he's going to be a center. Frank Ray, thank you for clarifying. You said at the Senior Bowl he played center, which is interesting because a lot of people play center at the Senior Bowl, right? You had guys like Zion Johnson playing center, right? And I don't know if Zion Johnson is going to be a center. You had other guys like Cole Strange playing center at the Senior Bowl. I don't know if that makes a ton of sense. But I'm pumped up, man. I think this is a fantastic pick. Crujo said he's pick number 90. He is pick number 90. Did the title not update? He's pick number 90. And I love it, man. I love it. And Aaron Bernard says pancake time. That's the thing, man. That's the thing. I think this is, and I truly believe this, man. At left tackle, the Raiders going to have Colt Miller. At left guard, I believe it's going to be Dylan Parham. At center, it'll be Andre James. At right guard, it'll be Alex Leatherwood. And then it'll be that right tackle position that's up in the air. I think that we'll have 3 guys battling for that right tackle position. I think Denzel Good could potentially battle for that right tackle position, or maybe the right guard position with Alex Leatherwood kicked out to the right side. It's going to be very interesting what the Raiders end up doing. I plan to 100% break the tape down. Like I'm for sure going to do it right after this video. I'm excited, man. I'm super excited. Most people are agreeing that he is a guard. I think he is definitely a guard as well. He's super aggressive. He's nasty. He's physical. But from the mindset perspective, he gets it. He understands how to go from point A to point B. He understands how to climb. Great processing. And I think these are the types of players that the Raiders need to get. These are the type of players that the Raiders have to have in the locker room, right? These are the type of players. And I see a lot of your guys' comments saying that Sanjit is high. He looks, Jim said, I love the fact Sanjit looks high AF right now. So I'm not high. I promise you guys that. I have my contacts in. I've had them in all day. Super long day. Did so many videos today. So very tired, man. Been up since like 4 a.m. But I appreciate the comment. I really do. Omar said, bro, we need a right tackle, a linebacker. The pick was trash. Bro, there's so many players we could have gotten. And that's the thing, right? Is I do agree with you. I think we should have went with the right tackle. And again, Parham could play right tackle technically, right? He's done that in college. But I will say this, right? Maybe the Raiders do feel that Alex Leatherwood could be the right tackle. Because if that's the case, if Alex Leatherwood could be the Raiders' right tackle, think about it. Think about where this team could be if Alex Leatherwood could just be the Raiders' right tackle and be a good one for a number of years. And it's possible, 100% possible. I think Alex Leatherwood could play right tackle. And here's the thing for me, right? I do hope that Alex Leatherwood at least has the opportunity to play right tackle, because if he fails once again, that's fine. We can write that chapter off and just make him a right guard for the rest of his career. Just keep him in as a guard, let him play his 5 years with the Raiders, and we'll see how he does. Maybe just let him walk after that. At the end of the day, Alex Leatherwood is not a Dave Ziegler or Josh McDaniels guy. He's a Mike Mayock, John Gruden guy. So when you bring in a guy like Parham, that's different, right? That's a Dave Ziegler, Josh McDaniel guy. And you know what's crazy is in 20 years, if the Raiders win multiple Super Bowls, we're going to look back to this pick and say that Dylan Parham was the first pick of this new regime. I'm pumped up, man. I'm super excited. Chemo said, like the video for Sanjit. Y'all, Sanjit putting in the work for Raider Nation. Big shout out to you. If you guys could just hit that thumbs up button, I would really appreciate it. It really does mean a ton. The Raiders initially did have the 86 overall pick, so they traded it for pick number 90 and 169. And I love it. I love the fact that the Raiders traded that pick away, because that gives the Raiders the ability to go out and get some more players. Remember, there's over 1,400 players that are coming out in this draft. That's more players. That's double the amount of players over any of the years over the past. So think about it from that perspective. There's a lot of good players, and you see guys like Nakobe Dean and Malik Willis kind of sliding, and it's because there's so many good players in this draft. Kakaha, and I apologize if I say your name wrong, Raider said, do you think we draft another offensive lineman in the next rounds, like center or tackle? I don't think we take a center at all. I just don't see it. I think a center would be off limits, but I could see the Raiders taking a tackle. Kellen Deesh is a guy that I absolutely love that's still on the clock. At least he was when before. But you know what's interesting is Bernhard Raymond just got picked like 5 or 6 picks ago. I think it was a big mistake for the Raiders not to trade up and get him. I know we ended up trading back, but generally when you trade back, it's because one of your guys gets picked. And also think about this. Right before our pick, the New England Patriots took Marcus Jones, who was a guy that the Raiders wanted. So it's going to be interesting to see what ends up happening. Kruho said if they could make number 70 better, then we good, but shit, big if. Absolutely. And that's the biggest thing, right? Is can Alex Leatherwood get better? I will say this about Alex Leatherwood. The guy's been putting in a ton of work. He's been out there. He's been putting in the effort. He's been putting in the work. I know he works with Duke Mayweather, who is probably the best offensive line guru out there. Everyone looks up to him and respects him. And Alex Leatherwood was able to get in with him, which not everyone is, man. You know, the average offensive lineman can't get in with Duke Mayweather. But Alex Leatherwood is working with him, as is, I believe, Andre James as well, although don't quote me on Andre being there. But I know Alex Leatherwood's working with him, and that should only make him better. So let's see if we can get that out of Leatherwood. As Chemo here says, hit that thumbs up button, man. I really appreciate it. It would really make this channel be viewed by other people. It could help the algorithm out. So if you guys just hit that thumbs up button, just takes you guys 1 second to do. Ardo says, did you scout him? Is he good? Yes, I did scout him. So let me just break it down for you guys if you guys missed it. I did a top 12 offensive line ranking on my second YouTube channel. The channel was called The Football Scout. I did a breakdown of his, and here's the thing. When I broke his tape down, I noticed real quickly that this guy's a good football player. I had him as my number 3 ranked offensive guard. Keep in mind, the number 1 offensive guard and the number 2 offensive guard went with the 15th and 17th overall picks in the first round. So the fact that my number 3 offensive guard lasted until this long, I'm telling you guys right now, the guy's a good football player. And I will break the tape down. I will break it down for you guys so you guys can check it out. I see some people saying that Dylan Parham will be a center. I find it hard to believe. Kruho says Daniel Jeremiah thinks he will be a center for the Raiders. I don't know, because do the Raiders actually have a need at center? Think about that, right? We have Andre James, and Andre James was a pretty good football player last year. Like, he wasn't that bad of a football player. On top of that, you can argue that the Raiders need a left guard and a right tackle more than they need a center, right? At the end of the day, center is such a it's an overrated position, right? Or I should say it's an undervalued position. No one really cares, right? There's so many good centers out there. HP said Dylan Parham, pretty solid. Just watched a few games. I'm going to break down the all 22 tape for you guys, man. And I'm going to break down a bunch of his tape, a bunch of his plays, because this type of guy is the type of guy that's going to take our offensive line to the next level. People are asking if he can play center. He can play center. I believe he was a center at the Senior Bowl. I still don't think he's going to be a center. Again, the Senior Bowl had Cole Strange, who was drafted in the first round by the New England Patriots. The Senior Bowl had him playing center. Another player taken in the first round, Zion Johnson. The Senior Bowl had him playing center. Those two guys are guards, right? So just because they play center doesn't mean they will end up being a center in the league. Benjamin Garcia said, do you think Parham starts somewhere? Absolutely. Absolutely. You don't take a guy in the third round and expect him to be a bench player, especially on the offensive line. We've talked about this. The biggest needs that the Raiders had was left guard, right tackle, the two biggest needs. And the thing is you have technically a couple of options at the right tackle position, even the right guard position, right? I would not care if Denzel Good beat out Alex Leatherwood and was the Raiders starting right guard and Alex Leatherwood's on the bench. I can care less, right? I want the 5 best guys out there. And I think that is what the Raiders are going to do, right? They're going to get the best 5 guys out there. And when you say the best 5 guys, I truly believe this. One of the best 5 guys is going to be Andre James. And I just don't see him being replaced. Kuro, thank you for the super sticker, man. I really, really, really appreciate it. As you guys know, super chats go a really long way. A lot of these videos get demonetized. So one of the best ways to support the channel and support the work that I do is either via super chats or just hitting that thumbs up button, man. The thumbs up button, believe it or not, does do something, man. So if you guys could just hit that thumbs up button, I'd really appreciate it. Jason Joseph said Parham will be a left guard, if not center. And here's the thing, right? I don't mind if Dylan Parham's our backup center. Like, I don't mind it. But I will say this. I was a backup center, right? I was a starting guard, and my backup position was center. And center is much different than playing guard, right? The footwork, the fact that you basically don't have both hands. One hand is on the ball. You really just have your off hand, right, to really block and stuff like that. Center's a much harder position in that terms, right? So I don't know if it makes sense to have Dylan Parham practice both positions. I think we should just let him get really good at one position, which in my opinion is going to be left guard or right guard. Either position, whatever the Raiders feel like needs to be replaced first. I will say this. We have a lot of versatile offensive linemen at this point, right? If you guys think about it from this perspective, you have now a right guard in Alex Leatherwood who also could play left guard, right? He played left tackle in college. And he could also play right tackle, which is what he was drafted for, right? So Alex Leatherwood could pretty much play 4 of the 5 positions, right? He could play left tackle as well. He did that in college. And now you have Dylan Parham, who's played right tackle, right guard, and center at the Senior Bowl, although I don't think he'll be a center. Then you have Denzel Good, who's played left guard, and right tackle. So you have so much versatility with the guys that we have. It pumps me up, man. It excites me. It gets me going, man. I'm super, super excited about this. Omar said, bro, I'm high on Carson Strong. Also, who do you think we can get in the 4th round? I think the Raiders should just double it up. Just take a right tackle in the 4th round. There's a lot of good football players available still. Now, interestingly, I actually thought the Raiders were going to take a tight end here. We did bring in a bunch of tight ends to visit. And I don't think that's to replace Darren Waller. Obviously, I think that's to potentially replace Foster Moreau, because this is Foster Moreau's final season. And Foster Moreau has a lot of potential, and Foster Moreau will never ever realize that potential behind Darren Waller. He has to go and be the number 1 guy for a team, and I think he's going to leave the Raiders and potentially do that, right? So we'll see what the Raiders do. Carson Strong, I wouldn't mind taking him, but the Raiders did bring in Nick Mullins, I believe, as well as they have another quarterback that we brought in too. So technically we have 3 quarterbacks, and I think only 2 will be active anyways, and it may not make sense to get Carson Strong. Here's the thing. The Raiders could have had Malik Willis if they wanted. 86th overall pick. He was right there. They decided not to take him, and they traded back, right? They let the Tennessee Titans have him. So if the Raiders wanted a backup quarterback like Carson Strong or someone like that, they could have taken Malik Willis, who was most people's number 1 overall quarterback, right? I'm not 100% sure why he slid. We'll find that out in the next couple of days. I see a lot of you guys saying, what should the Raiders do with their picks tomorrow? Well, and we'll get into that in a little bit later on. But thank you for the super chat, Steven. You said Raiders won the draft with Davante Adams trade, in my opinion. I like the pick. He's going to be competing with guard and tackle spots, Raider Nation for life. That's absolutely true. Never forget, the Raiders got Davante Adams with their first and second round picks this year. And we're past that now, right? Like, we didn't have a first or second round pick, and the wait sucked. It was a super long wait, but we got our guy now. We got a guy who, in my opinion, in Davante Adams is game changer, and now we're protecting Derek Carr, and I think that is such an important piece. You got to be able to help DC and get him that protection he needs to be able to deliver the passes downfield. Don't underestimate how much better Dylan Parham is going to make our run game. You know, I truly believe that our run game suffered last year, and I think John Simpson was a part of it, right? Like, you can say we struggled because maybe it was the coach, or maybe the guys were all kind of fill-in players. They didn't have that, they didn't have a bunch of practice together. Although all that's true, a big part of it was also because of the individual players, right? I was not a fan of John Simpson. I've never been a fan of his. And I think this all but basically gets him out of here. Again, John Simpson, 3rd round pick, right? Don't forget, or maybe he was a 4th round pick. Really hasn't been that good for us, man. He doesn't process things well. And what I mean by processing is, he'll be going to block a nose or whatever. He may be going to double, and a linebacker steps up and blitzes. He just doesn't see it, and Derek Carr takes a hit. We saw that happening a ton last year. The defensive line runs a game, and he doesn't pick it up, right? He doesn't pick that up. And those are the types of things I think John Simpson struggled with. And I think this guy is going to come in and potentially help the Raiders. So very interesting. I appreciate the super chat, Steven. Six Soldier said, what position is he playing for us, and what are starting offensive line looking like next year? And do we draft the right tackle? If we do, who? Thanks for the hard work. Much appreciated. Here's the thing with the right tackle position that I'm going to say. We all agree right tackle is more valuable. It's more important than a guard. We all know that to be a fact. And the fact that the Raiders didn't take a tackle with this pick, instead they took a guard, kind of makes me think maybe they're not going to take a tackle this year. Maybe they're okay with who they have, and maybe they'll wait until next year to potentially take that tackle, right? We don't know that to be a fact. We'll obviously see what ends up happening. But I think Dylan Parham's going to be a guard for the Raiders. I would be super, super surprised if he isn't a guard. I'd be surprised if he ends up playing like a different position for the Raiders. I think he's a guard for the Raiders, and I truly think he is one of those guys that could potentially be a game-changing interior offense lineman. He's a guy that can really get after it. He's a guy that knows what he's doing. So I'm excited, man. And you know what I'm actually going to do, and I appreciate all of you guys that are here, is I may end up going live and just breaking down tape. If that's something you guys want to see, let me know in the comments below, man. Hank said, go O-line with this next pick. I'd like a young, hungry center. Build it in the trenches. Absolutely, man. I could not disagree with you. Now, I will say this. I'm a believer of Andre James, but if there's a guy that you feel you can get in the 4th round that's better than Andre James, go for it. I would have argued that the only 2 centers in this draft that would have been better than Andre James is Cam Jurgens out of Nebraska, as well as Tyler Linderbaum out of Iowa. Both guys went, I think, in the top like 50 or 60 picks. Linderbaum obviously being the first. But I agree, man. I think the Raiders need to get a young, hungry offensive line. But technically, we do have that at this point, right? If you guys think about it, Colton Miller's about to enter year 5. You got left guard. Maybe it's Dylan Parham, who's going to be a rookie. Andre James entering year 4, I believe, or maybe I think it's year 4. But Andre James is technically a second-year starter. Then at right guard, you have Alex Sutherland entering year 2 and Brandon Parker about to enter year 5. The offense is young, man. It is young, and I think it is hungry. I will say this. I think getting a good right tackle would still go a long ways. But I am okay with this offensive line, man, to be honest with you guys. And Dylan Parham has every opportunity to potentially play that right tackle position, but if he doesn't really matter. I think he'll end up being a really good offensive lineman on the inside. I appreciate all of you guys that are here, man. If you guys could really hit that thumbs up button, it would really help a lot. Some people are talking about John Simpson is XFL quality. And that's the thing, you know, sometimes I feel like the Raiders draft these guys that are not very good, right? And then we kind of stick with them. And I think Brandon Parker is an example of that, as is John Simpson, right? I just don't see it from those guys. And, you know, if there's one position that I understand and I understand well, I would say is offensive line. Like, I could tell you guys that Honor James is a starting center. I could tell you guys that Jimmy Morrissey is a starting center. I could tell you that John Simpson and Brandon Parker are not starting caliber players, right? At least they haven't proven it yet. And even with Alex Leatherwood, if you guys remember, I was super disappointed when the Raiders took him last year because I just didn't see it from him. I didn't think he was going to be a good football player. And so far, he hasn't been. Not saying that he can't do that, right? He can absolutely still become a really good football player. But we'll obviously see what ends up happening. Either way, I think the Raiders did a great job, man. I really believe the Raiders did a great job. I think that if you look at where the Raiders are right now, we're literally just a good offensive line away from having a top 5 offense because we have a really good quarterback, a really good slot wide receiver, probably one of the best tight ends and best outside wide receivers in the league. And then you have a really good running back. So there's nothing that could potentially hold this Raiders team back except for the offensive line, except for the guys up front. But let's be honest, right? You can take 5 average guys and be better than 5 first-round picks, right? An offensive line made up of 5 first-round picks if the coaching is good, if the coaching is well. And I've spoken to some of the Raiders offensive linemen. I've asked them questions about how they feel about Carmen Brasillo, who's the Raiders offensive line coach. And a lot of them love him. A lot of them love the offensive line coach. The time they've spent over the last 2 to 3 weeks with him, they feel like he gets it. In fact, I asked one offensive lineman that we had the difference between him and Tom Cable, and he said Tom Cable just doesn't let you do things, right? He doesn't let you do some of those advanced things that you may want to do. Tom Cable really wants you to win one way and one way only. He's kind of strict with the way you block and stuff. And Carmen Brasillo's the opposite. He's kind of open. He lets you win however you feel like you're going to win. So those type of things make a big difference. And I truly believe that a guy like Carmen Brasillo is going to say, give me Dylan Parham. Give me a guy that can move well, a guy that's physical, a guy that's nasty, a guy that's tough. I think this is a fantastic pickup for the Raiders, man. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I am going to work on a film study for you guys right now, so be tuned for that. It'll probably come out in the next hour or so. I'm not going to go live because that's going to get the video and potentially the channel demonetized, but I am going to break down a film study, probably be out in the next hour or two. I'm going to start working on it right now. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, man. Thumbs up, subscribe, man. Seriously, subscribe. You guys will not miss out. I'm going to have film studies on every single one of our players. If you guys just hit that thumbs up button, I'd appreciate it. 2 hours, man, and I'll have that film for you guys. I'll see you guys soon, man.